I must admit to my surprise at being given the honour to debate a culinary matter. As you know, being of British origin hardly gives one credentials on anything gastronomic. Whether cooking, baking, tasting, or even appreciation. I am reminded that in English there is no word for bon appetit or beter bon. So I would like to thank the organisers for encouraging me to visit a few cookbooks in order to make our case for Hamentaschen over latkes. Firstly, I need hardly inform you that latkes are clearly less healthy than Hamentaschen. The oil used in making the product has been determined detrimental to our health by all dietitians, and deferring to them I would strongly recommend refraining from the overgenerous use of this oily substance. By contrast, the Hamentaschen is far friendlier and indeed inclusive. Those who bake them know that you can put virtually anything inside them. Poppy seeds, apricot, chocolate. I guess you could even have a Hamentaschen filled with latkes. Could latkes do that? I turn my attention now to the issue of odour. Smell. That these products, of course, effuse. Now, whilst the smell of Hamentaschen, as they are, whilst the smell of Hamentaschen, as they are removed from the oven, is an absolute delight, latkes, as we all know, produce a most unpleasant smell that fills the house. Instead of being a welcome fragrance for our visitors, they are overcome by the unpleasantness of oil. Latkes frightens our guests away. Our Jewish values put an emphasis on the family, and it strikes me that whilst everyone can participate in the making of Hamentaschen, clearly the youngsters are able to be involved in frying latkes. The frying of oil demands that parents assume responsibility for their youngsters and keep them well away from the fire. By contrast, the making of Hamentaschen is a family affair and all can participate. I imagine, like me, we all have fond memories of making Hamentaschen. Can one say the same of making latkes? Let us turn our attention to other worthy arguments supporting the cause of Hamentaschen. Brits are, of course, well known for their love of sports, and particularly football. A matter about which I like to think I have something to say. In the league, teams that win receive 3 points. Those that draw a tie receive 1, and those that lose, none at all. Now, most of you are not old enough to remember the famous football game played at Celtic Park in 1968 between Hamentaschen, otherwise known as Ayr or Ear United, thank you, wearing their triangular shirts against Liverpool City, otherwise known as Hearts of Midlothian. Of no surprise, I'll give that a moment. Of no surprise was the victory of the former over the latter, 3-0. Of course, Hamentaschen had a natural advantage by being triangular, which gives you 3 points. Whilst regrettably, latkes have none. Of course, our debate should not be solely concerned with the culinary attributes and sporting metaphors of these food products. Here at the college, we should also be concerned, nay, deeply engaged, in appreciating their symbolic value. Now, you're all studying here in Israel, and given your engaging, intellectually stimulating teachers, I'm sure that by now you're fully aware that a Zionist interpretation of the Hanukkah story would reject the miracle of oil. Dare I quote from that remarkable song? Anu nosim lapidim, we are carrying torches. Rumour has it that recently you heard a fine rendition of this song. You will, of course, remember the refrain. Nes lo kara lanu pach shemen lo matzanu. There was no miracle, we found no cruse of oil. Clearly, the invention of the latkes, dare I say its construction, is another attempt by the rabbinical authorities of the time to defer the Jewish people from action and instead to perpetuate a passive, quietist approach to those who would challenge our rights and freedoms. These rabbis created dependency on the myth of God's intervention in saving the Jewish people through miracles. This nonsense perpetuates the great tragedy that faced the Jewish people, its passivity. Instead of fighting for our rights, we ate latkes. A shame on us all. An end to latkes. Cast this nonsense into the garbage of Jewish culinary history, where it rightfully belongs. Now, in the light of all the above, yes, I suggest that we approach the season of latkes. As we approach the season of latkes, we should lobby the Knesset and the Minister of Trade and Industry to affix health hazard warnings on all ingredients associated with latkes. We could put such health warnings on all potatoes, oil, and most definitely on the applesauce. Perhaps we should place a tax on these products as a way of deferring the public from purchasing them. Such a move would serve to improve the health of the Jewish people, discourage them from believing in the nonsense of miracles, and return the Hamentaschen to its rightful place in the symbolic and culinary delights of our tradition. Thank you.